Hello, I am Maxwell Farmer. I am an author, best known for my Dr. Druid Lit RPG trilogy. I also am currently working on the Last Scion Cultivation Progression Fantasy series. Book 2 is out now. Book 3 will be out this summer. And when I am not writing, I am busy doing dad stuff. I've got 2 kids at home, a little boy and a little girl just recently born, and I am a veterinarian. And so feel free to, if you have questions at all or anything like that, hello, Matt. Good to see you. I will kind of talk about a little about some of my inspirations and currently what I am watching, playing video game wise, just activities in life, and just kind of go from there. I will start off kind of talking about how I got into writing. I was in my last year of vet school years ago, and it was I accidentally had an Audible subscription that I was unaware of, and because of that, I had like 7 credits, and I didn't realize that. And it's like, well, I can't return them; might as well use them. And I just kind of stumbled into Lit RPG and just fell in love, and just kind of voraciously consumed so much content about it. And I loved it so much that I reached out to an author. I won't say which author, but I reached out to an author and I'm like, hey, I love your stuff. Can I like write in your world? Like maybe just as a fan stuff. And they politely declined. They were like, yeah, thank you, but no, thank you. And I respect that. That was fine. But I was like, all right, fine. Then I'll just start doing my own content. And that's really where writing kind of started for me. I had started out with a series called The Ashen Plane. It is a lit RPG series, kind of dark fantasy stuff with a necromancer main character, but kind of Death Knight stuff if anybody's familiar with World of Warcraft. And if anybody wants to read that, actually, if they sign up for my mailer list on maxwellfarmer.com, you can get the entire ebook for free. So kind of a fun way to see some new stuff there without actually having to pay for anything. Hello, Dawn. Good to see you. And so, yeah, that's really kind of the big intro. After writing the Ashen Plane series, I decided to kind of take some of my veterinary stuff into account and do a veterinarian lit RPG. And that's where the Dr. Druid trilogy came out. Many people will see, I mean, there's definitely some Shield Hero inspiration over there. They're big anime fans. And yeah, that's really kind of where that came from. It's really my best known series, I would say. And then, yeah, I decided to kind of really branch out into cultivation because Oh, hey, thank you. Well, you beta. Well, that's an awesome person right there. They beta read for me for Dr. Druid, and they were great. So thank you. And so I can kind of talk about where, if anybody is curious about particular inspirations about Dr. Druid and different things, but I can't remember what I was going to say about the thing earlier because I see that Dawn was asking me to please say something and I can't remember. So I started that, or I did the Dr. Druid trilogy. A lot of different elements that I use, kind of little snippets here and there. Like there's definitely Shield Hero, World of Warcraft, Dungeons and Dragons, dinosaurs. Yep. I'm doing cultivation now too. So if you're interested at all, I've got the first 2 books here. I'm doing a cultivation progression fantasy series called The Last Scion. Book 1 is called Defunct. It is with a character that cultivates mental mana. I was heavily inspired by Will White and a number like Tao Wong and other really great authors out there to kind of try to pursue and try to go over and do my own little cultivation series. It's a world set up post Ragnarok, so post Norse apocalypse. Has a lot of Norse mythology. I use Norse mythology in almost all my books, at least to a certain degree. And so, yes, my cultivator main character uses mental mana to cultivate, and actually is really cool because he's actually paraplegic. So he actually moves his body using mana instead. And so he has to fool people and kind of move himself like a puppet, which is really cool, kind of an empowering kind of thing, which I really like. Book 2, Ruby, for the series just came out this month. It's got one of his companions, a dwarven paladin, right there fighting a giant snake. So yes, it is really fun. I've very much enjoyed it. I feel the books are just getting better. I just finished dev edits for book 3, titled Sapphire. It is, I think, my best one yet. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun there. Yeah, good question, Matt. Any specific? I'm drawn to Norse mythology. I'm a big mythology nerd. I mean, ever since I was in elementary school, Greek mythology was my first introduction to it, I would say. But I'm heavily inspired by Greek, Norse, and Egyptian mythology. But I feel I've just kind of really gravitated towards using Norse mythology as a medium. And so I really enjoyed that, and just kind of using that as a little bit of a base, because I definitely enjoy kind of having a pantheon and using that even for my lit RPG power systems and stuff like that. Don asked about just kind of where I started from. Yeah, I mean, really, I winged it. I mean, my very first copy, my very first book, before any editing at all, I mean, it was terrible. It was really bad, and I've learned and grown a lot from there. But I really wanted to kind of do this creative endeavor, and so yeah, my first book, again, you can get it for free if you sign up for my email list on maxwellfarmer.com. It's called Grim Beginnings, and has a kind of a Death Knight MC, and has an orc companion who has this kind of giant power arm. I used a little bit of inspiration from Doomfist. If anybody ever played Overwatch for that character, I like to just kind of sprinkle in little gaming elements and inspirations. Oh, thank you, Rich. Said some very nice words to me there. I really appreciate it. Yes, thank you. So that's kind of, I just really use a lot of gaming and element, just kind of just tidbits, I sprinkle inspirations, in the Dr. Druid series. Anybody's a Last Avatar fan or Last Airbender fan, there is a vendor that gets his cabbages destroyed, and he shouts, "My cabbages." So there's little subtle things that I kind of like to sprinkle in through here and there. Skyrim's always a big inspiration in a lot of things. But kind of to circle back to what you had said, Matt, just Norse mythology, I've just always been really gravitated towards. I live up in Wisconsin too, so a lot of people up here, a lot of Scandinavian descent. I have a good friend of mine who is actually a very avid believer in that pantheon and stuff. So I talk with him too and kind of get that. But I throw a lot of anime and gaming references throughout there. I would say currently I'm watching Dragon Ball Daima. If anybody is a big DBZ fan at all or anything like that, that's kind of where I'm kind of watching currently. But I would say, some of my bigger inspirations for sure, Shield Hero, Naruto, Dragon Ball, Bleach is a cool one. My favorite anime though of all time is Gurren Lagann. If anybody ever watched that, it's only 21 episodes, but it's one if you just need to get motivated, you feel like you need to kick ass and take names, Gurren Lagann is the way to do it. So if anybody hasn't watched that, highly recommend it. My favorite anime of all time. But yeah, so that's kind of where I've had my inspiration from. Yeah, and thanks, James. I appreciate it. I mean, you're the man. So I mean, it's always great to hear from you. And if anybody hasn't already, I mean, James's series are super awesome. Viridian Gate, huge inspiration. Love that series. One of my favorites. Yes, thanks, Rich. Yeah, Dan the Man and Jessica 3 did dual narration for Dr. Druid, and they were fantastic. Absolutely. They crushed it. and they're both really nice people, and I really appreciate what they did. So yeah, no, it's been awesome. They're currently I am listening to two different series right now. I'm been engrossed in the Road to Mastery series by Valerios. It's kind of reminiscent of Primal Hunter, but with kind of more of a pugilist fist fighter class. Oh, takes one to know one, Kyle. Thank you. And so that's what I'm really been into right now. I'm about done with book 3, and I'm also on Empire by the great Nikolai Ganella. I mean, just chef's kiss. He is fantastic, and just such a nice guy. I've been able to talk to him a few times, and he's always been really kind and even willing to give me pointers, which is awesome. So that's been really cool in there. But yes, that's kind of the basic intro, I would say, of who I am and where I'm from. I feel like maybe a lot of people like that kind of got interested into lit RPG. I'm not a classically trained writer, so to speak, but it was such a passion and such an exciting thing that I really wanted to kind of just jump in, and kind of long-term goals. I would like to do more writing primarily, but it depends on if people like it, and so hopefully someday. I got a question over here from Matt. Haven't read any of your books yet, but are animal companions a big part of your books? Yes. In Dr. Druid, animal companions are a huge part of the book. I don't want to spoil kind of about this particular, but you can see in book 1 for sure. You can see one of his animal companions. It is a big component in there, and just like blatant special powers, because each of the druids in Dr. Druid have their own kind of special powers. And so Virgil's Pact is the first one. It is definitely part of that. I have a question here from Dawn. What animals did you enjoy the most in your stories? Did you pull from your vet experience? I would say the companion, like his companion animals, are definitely the ones I enjoyed a lot. I also have dinosaurs in there, and I'm a huge dinosaur nerd. I'm like, brainwashing my son, who's only 2 years old, to just really be a big dino kid. And he's just a huge dinosaur nerd. But I would say I took a lot of nerdy elements, like his first companion is named Splinter, who was a rat that lived in the sewer, and Splinter is an evolved stego rat, so a little bit of stegosaur in there as well, so it got some dinosaur mixed in. But you can kind of, if you're in the know, you can pick up that reference pretty easily there. So just that, there's some other companions there, and so just I don't want to spoil too much in that regard, but that is a huge thing. And I did pull from my own vet experience. That is true, Dawn. The veterinarian does help a cow give birth, and he also does a magical dental procedure on a cat. And so I'm kind of pulling from my own experiences there. So yes, there's definitely in there. I got a question over from Kyle. What was the inspiration for Dr. Druid? Perfect timing. I just wanted, like, at the time there was nothing about like a healer. There weren't many healer main character lit RPGs out there. There still aren't, I think. But there weren't any veterinarian ones at the time, and so I'm like, well, I have a plethora of experience that I could use and kind of to inspire others to kind of read about that. And so I just like, and I loved fantasy stuff, and I loved World of Warcraft, and I'm like, where can I kind of combine those two and make kind of a synergistic story? And so really I just kind of took my nerdy loves, from anime, gaming, all those kinds of things, and then just kind of took a lot of my own vet experiences and just really kind of meshed those together into a cohesive story. And it was, I have to give credit to my mom, though. She was like, I was writing the Ashen Plain series, my first series, and she just kind of just casually told me, I was driving home from work on the phone, she goes, why don't you write one about a veterinarian? I'm like, that's a good idea. So I have to give that props to my mom, Angela Farmer, for that. I got a question over here from Josh McGriff. What's the elevator pitch for The Last Scion? Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. So Last Scion, it is a world post Ragnarok. Things have been changed, and if anybody's familiar with Ragnarok, I do kind of take my own inspiration from that. But essentially, different realms got merged together to make one world, and so there's a bunch of different. There's a big continent, different races, different nations. The big kind of pitch is there was a huge war at the very early stages post Ragnarok. A dragon army had invaded the continent. They were able to push back, and they Battle World. Yes, so they pushed the dragons back, but they weren't able to defeat them completely. And the people of the continent were only able to beat the dragons because of a secret power that one small nation had, mental mana, and they kept that power a secret just for fear of discrimination and stuff. And then centuries later, dragons have been kind of like secretly sending their influences out and such that the mental mana cultivators get exterminated, and their mental mana cultivators are called scions. And so like the last king is labeled a tyrant and stuff and murdered, but his secret son, who is the main character named Kiru in this book, that is Kiru right there in the red jacket with his little imp companion William, the breaker of wills, he likes to call himself, that he has to essentially find his father's lost items throughout the continent, grow strong enough, reclaim the kingdom, so he can like repower the barrier to prevent the dragons from returning. So that's kind of the general pitch about it. But the big kind of caveat is that you learn early on Kiru is he gets injured and cannot move from the neck down. And so he has to use his own powers of mental mana to use like telekinesis to manipulate himself to move. So he has to like blend in, like not look like he's being held up on strings, and also use his power to grow and find his father's items scattered throughout the continent to reclaim his power. So kind of the general gist of that. I've been having a blast with it. Thank you, Don. I've been having, thank you, Rachel. It's really been fun. It's narrated by Kevin T. Collins, who is well known, Audible narrator. He has done a lot of different series. In particular, I know there is one cultivation series that he is, I think he just finished recently, that is like 20 plus books. I was going to look at the name of it, and pretty well known for that one too. Let me look that one up. The Dragonheart series. So very, very well-known series there. And he's really good. He's been great. I've been really appreciative of him. And yes, so I definitely recommend checking it out today. Has a lot of cool, subtle references in there. Is he typing it? I can. Oh, here, you know what? I can share the link over for the last Scion series there on Audible. Here we go. I can have Geneva share that for you. This is admittedly the US link, just an FYI, but there, that comment will get shared. But yes, so it's been fantastic. I've been having a lot of fun, because cultivation and lit RPG, I feel, are very, similar. It's basically a power system, just not as quantitative in pure numbers. I mean, it definitely can be. There are lit RPG cultivation crosses. But yes, I'm having a blast with this one. I have another series currently it's on Royal Road. It's currently on hiatus, but I'm excited about that one too. It's called Brother of the Kraken. It is I took that inspiration directly from a D&D character I did, and I actually even thank you. But actually I have you can only see part of it, but I've got a Kraken tattoo kind of up here. So there's more that's up this way, but thank you. Awesome. So it's a really cool series. I do plan on getting back to at some point, but right now I'm currently working on putting my focus on the cultivation series Last Scion. My hope is 6 books. That's kind of where I'm going from that, but I'm pretty excited about it. And so yeah. There is a question over there from Dawn. What story are you thinking I might do next? What else is inspiring you? Yeah. So That is particularly one. Brother the Kraken is definitely near and dear to my heart for my own Dungeons and Dragons experiences, and so that one is a big one. And yeah, it has like these kind of Kraken powers. Also has mythology in there because I really like to do that. And I also there's another one that I'm currently kind of. I'll throw the title out and see what people think, but I'm actually thinking about doing a cultivation lit RPG cross. Called To Kill a Phoenix. It's kind of a play on To Kill a Mockingbird, if any in that way. But I'm pretty excited about what that could be potential. So I'm having that brewing. I am. If anybody knows who C.R. Rowanson is, he's a friend of mine, and I've hired him out to do some world building with me and stuff for that at some point. I got a question here from James. Love hearing about the process. Am I a panster or a plotter? I actually did the panel for that one earlier for this. I am admittedly, sorry, Don. I am admittedly a mix of a panster and thank you too. Yeah, I'm a big tabletop RPG person too. I'm a mix of a panster and plotter. I have a set outline. I'm like, okay, these are the goals, kind of what I'm doing here. What happens in between is definitely kind of where I let the creative juices flow, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm going to write out how it happens. And a lot of new things happen, and admittedly, sometimes that makes the pace a little harder, where I have to kind of backtrack and be like, oh yeah, I've got to like, oh, this is actually going to be a scythe, it's going to be better if this is a scythe, not a hammer. And now I've got to go through and kind of rechange some of that. So it definitely can cause a little bit of challenges in that way, but I believe it makes the story better to allow a mix of both for my personal creative processes. So yeah, good question, but I think kind of having a mix of that. Thank you. Yeah, I finished up the sleeve this summer. I have a Kraken that goes all the way up there, and then I've got a koi sleeve that kind of goes up to here. So I finished that up. I'm pretty excited about it. I will say for people who have tattoos, once you get one, you want to keep going. But I'm good right now. Oh yes. C.R. Rowan does know his magic systems. That's what he's known for. He has the magic system blueprint. I met him over at 20 Books to 50K back in Vegas 3 years ago. Yeah, really cool guy. Amazing hair. If I could have that hair. I got a thankful from James. Yes, I do play D&D, and why have we not? Dude, just reach out. I'm happy to make time to play D&D. It will be just as long as there's room for either a barbarian or a warlock. I typically favor those in particular. So yes, definitely down. But I think you like the barbarian, so I can do the warlock. That's totally fine. From what I remember seeing the bear head on the pictures. Okay, the title is good. Yes. Okay, so to Kill a Phoenix, people are liking that one. Kind of a pun on the To Kill a Mockingbird. That's good. What do I play in D&D? Yes, I will judge you. Most recently, I mean, it may be pretty basic, but it was a Tiefling Warlock, and he had. Let the judging begin. My Tiefling Warlock had a Kraken patron. He had a, and so that's kind of where he had these like tentacle powers and stuff like that. Oh, Circle of Moon Druid. Okay. But he had all of these tentacle powers. My DM liked to make a lot of tentacle jokes, which it was fair. I did ask for it. But he had like a lot of these kind of spells, like Tentacles of the Deep is one of those, and like Evard's Black Tentacles. Like he had a bunch of different ones. There's a lot of jokes that could be made. But yes, I played a Tiefling Warlock, Rachel. My wife also played a Fire Genasi druid. I'm slowly corrupting her to become more and more nerd. She's like a cool kid, and so I wasn't, and so I'm like slowly getting her to be more nerdy. Swords Bard. Okay. So there's not any crossover then. Yeah, barbarian or warlock. I mean, that I think kind of is my way to go. Fish even better. Oh, yes. Yes, I really do set myself up for those jokes. But yes, the tentacle powers, they were a lot of fun though. I mean, there were some pretty creative ways that I killed people in that. But yes, I've had a lot of fun, and that is really the huge inspiration for my Royal Road series. Again, currently on hiatus with the Brother of the Kraken, and so it's if that is something more people are interested in after I'm done with Last Scion, I'm going to do some writing back on Royal Road. And if that is some interest, I'm definitely willing to kind of continue that. But again, I've got some other ones. I got a question over here from Kyle. Who is my hero that has inspired me in my personal life? I've got a lot of them, I would say, but for the sake of being cliche, I would say a huge hero is my dad. Uh, Growing up, if my dad and I, like, we look very similar. I always heard that my entire life, and when I went to college, I was hoping to kind of like go and like not be Scott Farmer's son, be Max Farmer. And I mean, I've always been proud of my dad, but I just kind of wanted my own identity. And I've learned over time, the more and more I've been on my own and stuff, the more and more I'm like my dad. And just like he's always been there to love and care and provide for our family. And he's never been too macho to say like, I love you, son, and I'm proud of you. And that just makes a huge difference. And we're willing to even disagree on stuff. And so it's just, he's a big hero of mine, just a hard worker and kind of going after his dreams. Like, he was a successful realtor, but he started off working in a lab and he kind of just worked himself. So like, I take a little bit of my inspiration that like, yeah, I'm a trained veterinarian and now I'm working on being a writer and an author and stuff. So it's just a huge inspiration is my dad. I know it may be cliche, but he's a really great guy. So I got over here, Cleric of Life Monk. I love dual classing. And add tabaxi keyword is fast. Yes, that's true. I'm assuming you could probably use your claw stuff as well. Yes, I am corrupting my wife. Slowly but surely. It's only taking 10 years, but I'm getting there. We are getting kind of close to time. We've got about 3 minutes left over here. So again, I just kind of want to reintroduce myself to anybody else who's came in midway through. I'm Maxwell Farmer. I am the author of the Dr. Druid Lit RPG trilogy with a veterinarian main character. I am a veterinarian by day. I'm an author by night. I'm a dad all the time. I said dad by night, but I'm like, I'm a dad all the time. And I am currently working on the Last Scion Cultivation series. Book 1 and 2 are out now. Book 3 will be out this summer. Book 1 is titled Defunct. Book 2 is titled Ruby. Really great covers as well. Richard Sashigane, I believe, did them, and they were published by Podium. I do not currently have any merch, Kyle. I had shirts at one point. I do plan on getting them back in. If they had Grief, one of my beloved sidekick characters in the Dr. Drew trilogy. They have. I had some custom Grief shirts made. A good friend of mine is even getting a Grief tattoo. So yes. Oh, you as well. You as well. Thank you. Thank you. That is quite kind. So yes. But there will be merch hopefully at some point, Kyle. So keep a lookout for that. Please follow me over on my Facebook page. Again, sign up for my newsletter on maxwellfarmer.com. I don't have a Patreon currently. I may reinstall that. I kind of paused that there. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody kind of coming out and asking questions and stuff and hearing me ramble. I hope everybody has a wonderful week coming up. Stay warm. And yeah, just keep being awesome. Oh, am I early? I'm early on it, but that's okay. And